After picking me up at Delhi airport, the driver pulled over a couple of kilometres later on a lonely stretch of road en route to the city. He switched off the ignition, turned around and said, 2,500 rupees, you give me. His front seat partner also spun around and gave me a threatening look. This felt dangerous. I was being taxi scammed. This is the story of my first arrival in India and taxi experience in 1989. Yes, I know that was a while ago. I'm showing my age a little bit here. Not to worry. Now, if you are concerned about traveling to any unpredictable place, join me as I unpack 5 strategies to deal with stress and how to keep a lid on your emotions when things go sideways by putting into practice what I call the Zen of taking taxis. Although things have improved in recent years, like many first-timers arriving at Delhi airport, I did not take a prepaid taxi into the city. Instead, I had walked smack into a sea of grasping hands and got hustled by 2 creeps. Psychologically threatened, I reluctantly opened my money belt stash and handed over the cash from the back seat. Later, I learned that the amount was about 10 times more than I should have paid. Ouch. The front seat partner got out, flagged down an auto rickshaw. He seemed to know the driver. He got in and returned to the airport. He was obviously part of a syndicate doing this day in and day out, waylaying naive travelers like me. Meanwhile, my driver started the taxi ignition and we set off again. I felt sick in the stomach and wondered what else was in store for me. My biggest challenge now was staying focused. This is a crucial first strategy when being scammed. One thing for certain is you should expect your well-laid travel plans to shift gears. That's a given. Next, the driver took me the long way round to a handicraft emporium where the fake-friendly merchant tried to sell me everything from chess sets, sandalwood elephants to white marble trinket boxes at exorbitant prices. The driver would also earn an under-the-table commission. Being bitten once, I was now alert and determined not to lose again. To steady myself, I focused on my breathing. Think of it as topping up your radiator with coolant. It helped me through this passive-aggressive face-off, another version of what I had faced with the 2 touts. There's this pretense going on of care and service with an underlying threat beneath the surface. I was uncomfortable, but not anxious. Playing along, I pretended to admire this silk painting and that lacquer tray. It was as if I was having this out-of-body experience floating up through the roof of the emporium and then being brought back into my body with an offer of a drink. Thick, overly sweet Indian milky chai. Well, look, things can't be that bad if they're offering you tea, right? At least these pushy crooks were hospitable. Finally, they saw I wasn't buying any of it. The merchant gestured with his eyes to the taxi driver, and we were back on the road. It could have all ended much worse. Losing a bit of cash, it hurt, but it was far less a problem than becoming disoriented and anxious. I thought it was better to keep smiling than to start shouting, and my learning wasn't over yet. Back at the airport, I had passed my contact's address to the driver, but now he chose to tell me that the place didn't exist. Thus, I didn't reach the house of my Indian friend of a friend. Instead, I landed up in a dirty hotel with cockroaches in the bathroom. Another commission opportunity for the driver and his syndicate of contacts. Too overwhelmed for food, I stared at the faulty overhead fan all night, clicking and twitching as if it had Tourette syndrome. Waking next morning, I glanced at the wall's brown stain seeping downward like the map of India. It was crystal clear I had landed in one of the subcontinent's shabbiest hotels, eating warmed up bread called toast for breakfast. Well, The urge to rebook a ticket on the next flight home was great, but I shrugged off my spasm of wimpy Westerner privilege, too used to comfort. This is also part of the zen of taking taxis, cutting one's losses and getting back on the road, which is what I did. This uncomfortable experience, however, sped me into an epic Asia-wide life with genuine people, fruitful connections, and personal happiness. Marriage, for example. But what was the gain here? If you must bow temporarily to the roadblocks, take a breath and don't lose heart. Recognize the journey itself as the destination, because the road is where the stories are. Panoramic as a movie seen through a cab window. And I'm a writer, so this is important learning for me. Perhaps it is for you as well. If all had gone smoothly, I wouldn't be sharing this with you now, right? So what's the next strategy? Traveling is stressful. We plan at home, but first-time travel is a bit of a leap in the dark. My hard arrival and uncomfortable night taught me that there is no textbook way to do things in India, that's for sure. Perhaps I'm just sloppy and haven't set the right goals for the best outcome. Travel challenges you to adapt to the moment and remain open-minded, because life has a way of burning our bridges, pushing us off metaphorical cliffs and making us bungee jump into the unknown. This is probably the world's most famous quote on the subject. The best laid plans of mice and men oft go awry. A famous line from a poem by Robert Burns, the Scottish poet. It was written to a mouse whose house in the ground suddenly got ploughed over by a farmer, despite the mouse's careful planning. Sound familiar? This has become a guiding principle. When backseat Jack-in-the-Box me gets wrenched left or right by hard steering. Despite this, the taxi will find its way to the centre line. The road's unpredictability is its beauty. Embracing the pothole jolts and bumps are the GPS guiding us along the path of mindful learning. Mindfulness is the word to remember here. Where does this bring us? After 3+ decades in Asia, I marvel that my journey has led me from naive taxi tourist to education business owner, published author, and starting a fresh farmer living in India with my life partner. Check out this video link above to learn about our tiny farm in India. Adapting to what life throws at us keeps us curious and moving forward. Meanwhile, I try to keep all plans provisional because they are going to change. As Indian motorcycle traveller P.G. Tensing has written, the plans we make are just ripples in the water. To end, let me share some of the atmosphere of that first cab ride, which switched on my ignition to 35 years of life inside Asia. It might inspire you to get on the road as well. Hello, bum squat tea stalls, sticky flies, milk sweet vendors. Hello, tailors, astrologers, cobblers, banana sellers, samosa wallets. Namaste, Ali Opticals, Mount Kailash Dry Cleaners, Mahalakshmi Jewelers, Saraswati Musicals. Hello, monkey men hanging from buses, sideways, sitting wives on scooters. Hello, thumbless lepers on pushcarts, rickshaw peddlers defying progress. Hello, ambling cow, elephant lumbering in chains, boy in buffalo cart, farmers in tractor, trailer, smoking hookah. Hello, dogs with visible ribs outside Abdul's meat shop. Hello, Bengali sex doctor, ultra-scan abortion clinics. Namaste, road work women in saris, lifting the pickaxe for the nation. Muslim, Parsi, Jew and Christian, hello Sikh with sword and turban and surgical mask Jain monk, the saviour of bacteria. Hello, sadhu with swinging penis. Sufi, singer drunk on Koali, drop out yogi in a cave. Hello, chapati. Once a day. Namaste, 84 million life forms. You are the snakes. You are the ladders, evolving, devolving, revolving from politician to vulture food, birth, death, and rebirth, from mud to illumination, and yes, 330 million gods, finite friends still tricking, to the formless, a pantheon greeting also to you. Good morning, black and yellow taxi. Good morning, Lord Shiva, holy picture meditating on the dash. Good morning, moustached and cunning driver with a greedy meter. Hello, you bitumen river of India. Please ferry me through the story bazaars, laneway by cobbled laneway, mango pip by mango pip, as minutely and epically as possible, to wherever it is I'm destined to blow like a handful of dust, scumbled into wind. The zen of taking taxis is a helpful metaphor for staying calm during mental traffic jams, emotional pile-ups, and life's road rage. What is your most memorable taxi ride? I've written a book of them, The Laughing Buddha Cab Company, soon to be back in print. Likewise, tell your best taxi tale in the comments. You can also access my free Asia travel ebook from Tokyo to Taj Mahal through this QR code on the screen or the link below. Also, check out these 5 Asia city destinations by clicking on the next video. See you on the Airbus.